Really interested to understand the growth of TubeMogul that we've covered for so many years into the cloud, and to sort of the evolution of a multifaceted DSP, or maybe you could sort of define the scope of it and your role in the video ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, TubeMogul started out as a video specialist, and we had been that for most of our career. And in, I think, mid-2015, we started building out our display offering. And since then, we've expanded into native, audio, and a breadth of other formats. And at this point, I think we were already headed in this direction before the Adobe acquisition, but the Adobe acquisition has absolutely sort of accelerated our move towards a multi-channel and multi-format DSP. And at this point, a vast majority, or a large majority of our spend comes from formats outside of video. And so we look at ourselves not just as a video specialist, but one who focuses on a lot of other formats as well.
Fill us in a little bit about sort of the changing demands of that buy side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at Adobe Ad Cloud, by and large, our focus in terms of the clients that we have, a larger percentage of our demand comes from brand direct relationships than from agencies. It's nice to be able to have relationships directly with the brands, and that a lot of the conversations are more strategic and more conversational in terms of saying, like, instead of how do I hit this viewability KPI or whatever performance metrics you already came up with, we can have conversations with them about what are the outcomes they're trying to achieve, what is it they want to do with this media spend, like how do they want to influence how users think about their brand. And that enables us to work with them a lot more hand in hand on sort of determining what their budget should look like and where they should be spending and what type of media is the most optimal for them. I think overall in video, our focus now for a couple years has been and will continue to be premium and getting as much spend out of Open Exchange as possible and into sort of true premium video, the kind of stuff that broadcasters or a Pandora or a prominent newspaper company might sell, because that's really the quality content that drives the best engagement when ads are run in front of or in the middle of it, and that's what drives the best value for our advertisers. Even when CPMs are higher for premium, the performance it drives is so much better than what you mostly find in Open Exchange that it's really worth it. And a lot of the focus for the last couple of years has been how can we better light up premium within the ecosystem, and how do we make it as easy as possible for buyers to access that inventory.
Tell us about data and audience buying and sort of how you guys operate.
Great question. I think there's a couple components to it. Part of it is, and especially with the other parts that Adobe Marketing and Experience Cloud bring to the table, are what elements of first-party data can advertisers bring that they want to use to target off of, as opposed to third-party, which was what was largely used in the past. And as advertisers bring more first-party data, what can we do to either enrich the segments or find other ways to make use of that data to make it both actionable and then reportable in the platform, and so that they understand the feedback loop better of where their media spend is going and what it's doing for them. I think in terms of data, there's definitely some challenges in the future, and as it pertains to how targeting is handled. GDPR is one of them. Another is that as most consumption of video switches to CTV devices like Roku, we cease to have, or like most video starts being consumed in a cookieless environment, which means that the data sets a lot of advertisers have built up to enable them to target users in desktop or mobile web environments cease to work. So how do you get advertisers to create data sets that allow them to find and better match users when they're now consuming content in very different environments than they used to?
Cool. And finally, this is sort of goes back to something that TubeMogul was very much in the forefront of, programmatic TV. So what does programmatic TV mean today?
We look at programmatic TV as using software to replace the old and somewhat antiquated system of 2 martinis and a handshake that a lot of TV buying was traded on for years, and until very recently was handled through what is very a manual process, with emails, phone calls, and in-person meetings. The technology for programmatic TV is definitely catching up with where digital is in terms of the things you can automate, but a lot of it, the idea is similar to what programmatic brought to digital, using software and using data to inform where an advertiser should be buying to deliver better performance. In most cases, it's shifting either the shows they're buying or the frequency with which they buy each show or where they're buying to increase better in target for certain types of users.
And where will that be going in the next year, do you think?
I think we're going to continue to see traction there. As far as the Adobe Ad Cloud is concerned, it's been one of our strongest growth areas for the last year and a half, and I think we'll continue to power a lot of the growth we're seeing. If you look at the opportunities created through programmatic and addressable TV, it creates a lot of targeting options that didn't exist in the past. So, what can we do to move budgets out of traditional TV buying and into addressable and programmatic? Are there better value we can drive for advertisers by giving them targeting options that didn't exist before? Is there levels of granularity of targeting that, we can build that will give them new opportunities or new ways to reach users?